Now, the book of Job, as I had mentioned earlier, is not a work of fiction, even if one may find a heavy amount of metaphoric language in there. We can see an actual history within it. Let's go to Albert Barnes' notes in the Bible. There was a man, chapter 1, verse 1 of the book of Job. This has all the appearance of being a true history. Many have regarded the whole book as nothing but a fiction, and have supposed that no such person as Job had ever lived. But the book opens with the appearance of reality and the express declaration that there was such a man. The mention of his name and the place where he lived show that the writer meant to affirm that there was, in fact, such a man. Now, others have pinpointed Job's geographical location as if it were a real place, while again examining Job chapter 1, verse 1. Let's go to John Gill's exposition of the Bible. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. Of the significance of his name, see the introduction to the book. The place where he dwelt had its name not from Uz, a descendant of Shem, that is, from Genesis 10:23, but from Uz, a son of Nahor, brother to Abraham. That's an interesting thought. Genesis 22:21, unless it can be thought to be so called from Uz, of the children of Seir, in the land of Edom, since we read of the land of Uz along with Edom, or rather Edom as in the land of Uz, or on the borders of it. See Lamentations 4:21. The Targum calls it the land of Armenia, but rather it's Arabia, and very probably it was one of the Arabias Job, in one of the Arabias that Job lived, either Patria or Deserta, probably the latter, of which Uz or Uzitis, as the Septuagint and the Latin Vulgate version read it, was a part of. The same with Esate of Ptolemy, and it is said to bear the land of Canaan, for in Arabia Felix the Sabaeans had lived. Certain it is that which is a country was near the Sabaeans and Chaldeans, and to the land of Edom, from whence Eliphaz the Temanite came. And this is very probable was a wicked and an idolatrous place. It was an instance of the distinguishing grace of God to call Job by his grace in the land of Uz, as it was to call Abraham in Ur of the Chaldees. And though it might be distressing and afflicting to the good man to live in such a country as that, it was to Lot to live in Sodom, yet it was an honor to him, or rather it was the glory of the grace of God that he was religious there. Let's look at Adam Clarke's commentary on the Bible. In the land of Uz, this country was situated in Idumea, or the land of Edom in Arabia Patria, of which it comprised a very large district. And then Jamieson, Fawcett, and Brown commentary, published 1871, public domain, says Uz, north of Arabia Deserta, lying toward the Euphrates. It was in this neighborhood and not in that of Idumea that the Chaldeans and the Sabaeans were plundered, who plundered him dwell. The Arabs divide their country into the north, called Sham, or the left, and the south, called Yemen, or the right, for they face east. And so the west was on their left, and the south was on their right. Arabia Deserta was on the east, Arabia Patria was on the west, and Arabia Felix was on the south. And finally, we've got Matthew Henry's commentary on the whole Bible. He says that he was a man, therefore subject to like passions as we are. He was Ish, a worthy man, a man of note and eminency, a magistrate and a man of authority. The country he lived in was the land of Uz, in the eastern part of Arabia, which lays towards Chaldee, near the Euphrates, probably not far from Ur of the Chaldees, whence Abraham was called. When God called one good man out of that country, yet he left not himself without witness, but raised up another in it to be a preacher of righteousness. God has his remnant in all places, sealed ones out of every nation, as well as every tribe of Israel. See Revelation 7:9. It was the privilege of the land of Uz to have so good a man as Job was in it. Now it was Arabia the happy indeed. And it was the praise of Job that he was eminently good in so bad of a place. The worst others were round about him, the better he was. His name was Job, or JJOB. Some say signifies one hated and counted as an enemy. Others make it to signify one that grieves and groans. Thus, the sorrow he carried in his name might be a check to his joy and his prosperity.